Hi, and welcome to the third part in our market research series, the competition analysis. Let's jump right into the video. Competition analysis focuses on the intensity of competitive rivalry. It refers to the degree of which competitors, potential entrants, and substitutes are able to compete with each other and how aggressively they do so. Companies must be able to assess the strength and competitive capabilities of their rivals in order to develop effective strategies that will enable them to compete effectively as well. There are a number of different factors that can influence the intensity of competitive rivalry in the market, such as the number of existing competitors, their market share and relative size, the degree of product differentiation, the level of fixed cost required to operate in the market, and so on. Companies must carefully analyze these factors in order to understand the competitive dynamics of their industry and to identify areas where they can gain a competitive advantage. Another important aspect of competitive analysis is identifying potential threats from new entrants, as well as opportunities for growth and expansion. Companies must be able to assess the barriers to entry in their market, including regulatory and legal barriers, economies of scale, and brand recognition. They must also be able to identify potential substitutes for their products or services and develop strategies to mitigate these threats of substitution. So in essence, you want to have a market with a population of small and fragmented competitors, meaning that market share is not concentrated with 2 or 3 players. You also want the numbers of potential entrants to be as low as possible thanks to high barriers. And finally, you don't want many substitutes to be available for the customer. Okay, the theory sounds good and all, but how can you turn this into practice? There's 3 phases in doing competition analysis. Phase 1 is about exploring who your competitors are, including new entrants and potential substitutes. Phase 2 is about data gathering. You want to know or collect as much information on your competitor as possible because this will help you with step 3. And in step 3, it's about assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your competitor's offering. What is their unique selling proposition? How do they reach the customers? What is their pricing? What are their costs? And so on. Let's do a deep dive in each step. In step 1, you need to identify your direct and indirect competitors. Direct competitors offer similar products or services, while indirect competitors offer alternative solutions to the same problem. This framework should help you to determine what type of competitors you should be researching. As you can see, you need to analyze your competitors on 2 criteria, which are capabilities and client needs, which gives you a matrix of 4 different competitor types. The most obvious ones are the direct competitors. They have similar capabilities that we have, and they're also going after the same client segment. Next, we have the indirect competitors. They have different capabilities, but again, go after the same client. Then you have potential competitors that have the same capabilities but are targeting different clients. And finally, you have the no competitors that have different capabilities and are also serving different clients. You don't really need to research them. Okay, so that was phase 1. Let's now go to phase 2, which was collecting information. You should research your competitors and gather information on their market share, products, pricing, marketing strategies, target market, customer satisfaction levels, and so forth. You can structure your research by splitting it up in multiple buckets, such as financial information, market information, and product information. But feel free to use any other structure if you want. Not all this information is readily available, so you will need to do some digging and use a combination of multiple research methods. Some sources of information include their website of the competition, social media, customer reviews, industry reports, and financial statements. You could also go out on the street and ask random people what they think of your competitor's product and branding. That type of study is quite helpful when you're targeting retail customers, and it also helps to understand the positioning of your competitor's offering and image. Again, you can structure your research by splitting it up in different types of buckets. I personally often use existing information and new information. Existing information means it's already available, and new information means that I need to create it myself. And finally, in phase 3, you need to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. You can use the famous SWOT analysis, which looks at your competitors' strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are considered internal to your competition. A strength could be, for instance, a reactive distribution network, whilst a weakness could be high prices. And then you have opportunities and threats. These are considered as external factors relative to your competitor's company. An opportunity could be a new market segment, whilst a threat could be more stringent regulation. From your perspective, you want to explore your competitor's weaknesses and threats. You need to hit them where it hurts, if you will. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's look at a small example to apply what we've just learned. Imagine that I'm an online tutoring service. Something tells me that's maybe not so hard to imagine. So I've decided to divide my competitors into 2 groups, being direct and indirect competitors. To make my life a little easier, I have not looked at potential competitors that are not serving the same customer needs. But you should get the idea of where I'm going. Within the group of direct competitors, you have other online tutoring services. You have TutorMe, Check Tutors, and Wizant, for instance. Within the group of indirect competitors, you have the Khan Academy, Coursera, and YouTube. The difference between these 2 groups is that my direct competitors are tutoring services offering one-on-one education, whilst the indirect competitors offer a one-to-many form of education. Next, you can see that I applied a shortened version of the SWOT technique on all my competitors. What you want to do here is to look for weaknesses that you can exploit and turn into strength. Something I noticed is that the indirect competitors all have weaknesses in common, and that's limited personalized attention. As a tutoring service, it should be something that I need to keep doing if I want to differentiate myself from them. Looking at my direct competitors, I see that I should focus on creating a large pool of tutors that can offer a wide variety of topics and be flexible with regards to scheduling a session. I hope that you can now see how powerful this analysis is. By identifying the strengths and weaknesses of my competition, I was already able to pinpoint some key features that my offering should have if I want to win in this competitive landscape. These are not the type of features that you will uncover by just doing some brainstorming session internally. You need to go out there and do the research. So, overall, competitive analysis is a critical part of the strategic planning process, allowing companies to develop effective strategies that enable them to compete successfully in their market. By understanding the intensity of competitive rivalry and the factors that influence it, companies can develop a deep understanding of their industry and position themselves for long-term success. And voila, you're now well armed to take on your competition. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date. If you like to take your market research skills a step further and put them to the task, then you should have a look at my course on product strategy creation. It will show you how to create a strategy for your product from scratch using various product management and consulting techniques such as service design, value proposition canvas, story mapping, and much, much more. You should be able to find a link in the description below. Okay, in the next video we will cover another aspect of our market research, the supplier analysis. See you there. Bye.